Morning, birthday boys.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Boys.
Ay.
Glad you're born. I'm glad you survived.
Apparently, I was born with an umbilical cord around my neck.
Mm.
Yeah.
Shiva with a snake, huh?
Is that what they say? Yeah.
Why not?
I slept
Yeah.
very well actually. Yeah, it feels like 4 hours, but proper.
Yeah, like very deep.
So, what is the topic you wanna talk about to our viewers of Osho?
What would you want to say on after your birthdays?
Hmm.
What birthday? How old are you, Mark?
I'm 55. The big 55.
Wow. Big 4-0 and 5-5.
Yeah.
Did well.
That's
huh?
95. We have a century of
95.
experience between us.
You look like you gotta go so far, man. 55 is nothing. Like it doesn't even show on your face.
Hmm.
Namaste, viewers.
Thank you for joining our.
You know, like last week at the men's circle, we talked about anger. Right.
Oh, wow.
But the thing that I think would be interesting to explore is fear,
Mm.
because that being, tied to anger. In Chinese medicine, water, which is in your kidneys, grows wood, right, which is your liver. And fear, which is represented by water and the kidneys, right, and thereby grows water and fear, and the kidneys lead towards the anger in the liver and the wood in the liver, right? So the water grows the wood. So just as fear grows anger. Isn't that an interesting relationship in the 5 elements theory?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But when does the fear start coming into human consciousness? If you think from a baby growing up, we have seen pictures of babies playing with the snakes. The kids, they walk into the darkness without any fear, like when does fear enter human consciousness? Like into the human mind, let's say, not even the consciousness.
I think we're spoon-fed fear, aren't we? Just like,
Daily practice it.
don't you think? Maybe our mothers spoon-feed it to us with the food that they give us.
Yeah, that's
What do
true.
you think?
Yeah. So when we can say fear is not direct experience, but it is being loaded, right? Like it's not, I'm born with all, we are injecting fears to each other, like you're growing up, I give you a pill of fear, okay, live with this one
Yeah,
the rest
yeah,
of your life. Okay, these are some fears, take from me, like as ancestry, you're passing on fears as well.
yeah, yeah. Well, okay. So, for example, this is interesting. In the border with West Germany and Czechoslovakia, there's a forest, and I think what Eckhart Tolle talked about this. I
There
think.
is a
Yeah, but these deer, right, stopped crossing because there were minefields there, and even 25 years after they took away the minefields, they wouldn't go to that part of the border, and I think finally they've learned to overcome their fear, but it took them 25 years, and so it shows that there are some memories that are somewhat genetic. I mean, unless there's like a secret deer language, we just, there might be that we don't know about, right? But that's what the study that they did was one of possible explanations was this genetic memory at some deep level.
The memory is still a bit funny, like memory can be manipulated, memory cannot be traced, memory can be overwritten, memory, it's like very unreliable thing. Yeah, but it is also responsible for a lot of fears, I can say, right?
Yeah.
How could anyone be in fear without memory? If you're just here, like all your information is lost, you're sitting on the desert, there won't be any fear, there would be a response naturally coming according to the life.
And like, what's this snake doing coming to me? It's like slithering. What is a snake?
Oh wow, that looks interesting, huh?
Yeah, look
That
how
would
it
be a
slithers.
wonder.
Rather than just like and run off,
If you look in the current scenario, how, as if we can see that how human brain can be programmed to respond to fear, like how can fear can be injected in human brain very easily, and not even directly, it can be coming in the form of love, in the form of care. Like we are talking about the mom.
Yeah.
She doesn't put fears directly into the kid's brain. She puts in a way of showing, don't go there, you're gonna hurt yourself. Like it's love, it's care. But what's underlying current is fear. Like she's putting fears based on her anticipations, which might have nothing to do with the reality. In the same way, if you see in the current scenario, how much fear we are injecting into each other. Like even if
it's like
it's unpredictable now with this pandemic, even though we all know that human beings are susceptible to sickness, death, which are natural conditions, but living a life trying to avoid them, is it really possible? Can a human being really survive without dying?
No, the fear of dying is like, I mean, the chances of something resulting in dying, like the typical daily stuff, it's a fraction. Like even crossing the street. Let's say if you cross the street without even looking, right? Like they always try to teach you. The fact is, I mean, obviously it's a highway. It can be a really high probability of maybe something hitting you, but most streets, someone's going to slow down, even though they might get pissed off at you.
Yeah.
Most likely they'll slow down and you won't die.
And you see that in India happening, people cross, they don't even look left and right, they just straight. The vehicles have to stop.
The cows too.
Yeah, cows. Yeah, of course.
And then also, a lot of it is like social control, right? I mean, without fear, there's no social control.
That's a big thing. I would totally agree with that. I've noticed personally in my work environment, it's very easy to make people work instead of using motivation by using fear, because people respond to fear very quickly. Motivation might take time, might work, might not work. There are chances, but fear, 100%. I'll say, if you don't do this job, you're gonna lose your job. Then you don't have any choice.
Yeah, so it says like that. You go and this, no, right? Just it's yes sir, yes ma'am.
Yeah.
3 bags full.
You can see that there are two. If you're having 2 reporting bosses, and one boss is working at the level of love, respecting you, taking care of your emotions, like okay, and there is another boss, he doesn't care about anything here, just wants his job to get done, and he has the list of contract, okay, what he can do if you're not performing well. And he speaks exactly from the paper, and the other guy is trying to go with emotions, empathy, and all these things.
Inspire, right?
Yeah.
The person's.
Even though I would totally accept, as human beings, we should work in a way of respecting each other, but the way that works is fear, effectively.
Yeah. I mean, just like we were talking about training Charlie, the combination of fear and reward, You know.
Yeah.
There's a place probably for fear, because there are some fears that are merited, and some that are maybe more, you know, biologically, like the fear of heights or something like that, right? I mean, at a certain level, some people are going to respond to that, I suppose. I mean, just imagine if you're like one of those construction workers in a large city like Dubai or something, you're walking on a beam doing your work. I mean, like, as if it's nothing, right? But then you have someone else. I mean, they couldn't even take a step on that beam. I mean, it's paralyzing.
Yeah. Again, as we said, the fear is coming from the memory. You know, like if there is no memory, there will be only alertness. There will be adventure. You know, if, for example, what makes people not to go on a dangerous hike? Why some people are so excited about this? Some people are. It's not. These people are crazy. You know, they won't even think about those things.
Yeah, it's interesting because a friend of mine, he went to Yosemite last couple months, like in October, right when they're closing down one of the main trails of El Capitan.
Yosemite?
Yosemite.
It's the Mac OS, which is the latest one.
This one's a big national park, and then they have the El Capitan. I don't know if it's a small one or the little one, but the ranger said, "Hey, you can still go up this back way. They've taken down the guardrails, but it's actually easier to climb without the guardrails, and there's good footing with rocks and stuff." And he and his friend turned it down. He was telling me because, you know, he couldn't imagine having to explain to his wife why he hurt himself, something like that, right? So
Valid reason.
Where's the fear? Where's the fear there?
He doesn't want to be blamed for being stupid.
Yeah. That's scarier to him than
death. We're scared of
You better be dead,
explaining
man.
the
you come home dead. Don't come with a broken arm.
To face his wife than face death. It's worse. It's a bigger death.
Yeah, the topic changed. Why people are afraid of their wives?
Well, okay, so King Leonidas in Sparta, okay, before he went to meet the 300 Spartans to meet the Persians, was at the pass, right? And so his wife told him, if you don't win, don't come back unless you're on a shield. You know, and that's how they carried dead on the shield.
Yeah.
It goes to show how people think about the Spartan warriors as being hardcore. And she is like hardcore warrior, you know.
There is a story which I heard somewhere. It's about a rat which is living always in fear, like fear, and she accidentally bumped into something, and she got a blessing from an angel. Yeah, and the angel appeared and they said, "Okay, mouse, rat, what do you want? Whatever you ask shall be granted." Yeah, and the mouse, she thinks, "I'm so afraid of these cats, like they chase me all my life. I better be a cat, so that I can protect my life." And then she says, "Okay, so be it." And then the rat, it becomes a cat. And then the cat, again, it was living its life, and it was walking the streets, and it's full of stray dogs, and it's so afraid, looking in the fear, like again, and looking at his fairy angels again appeared. "Oh my God, you look to be in more fear now, so is there any way we can help you?" And I said, "I'm so afraid of the dogs. Please give me a boon. I can become a dog." Okay, then so be it, it becomes a dog. And then the dog comes. It started living its life, but the dogs are afraid of men, people, because they somehow are controlled by men. So again, the dog started to live in fear. The man used to throw stones at the dogs, all these things. So again, the angels appeared and they said, "Dog, hey, you seem to be back in fear. You know, do you want something?" He said, "I want to be a man. Make me a man." And then the man came. And then the man started living their lives, happily exploring the world, doing all those things. And then they suddenly got married. And their life change started being afraid of their wives. And the angels appeared again. "Hey, you seem to be doing so well. What happened? You know, why are you so afraid?" Then he says, "What to do? You got married and now I'm afraid of my wife." So again, they gave a boon of you become a wife now. You know,
Oh, okay.
and they become wives and they started living their lives, and suddenly it happened that these women, they're afraid of rats.
Oh.
There you go, the cycle is complete.
And then the angels appeared and they said, "What do you want to become again?" So they made them into rats.
Mm.
So this is the origin of human beings according to one theory.
And
How
you know,
sad.
that's the first time I heard that theory. But it's,
Very interesting, Phil. Let's dive into it, yeah? But why men afraid of their wives?
that's a good question.
No, no jokes.
should
like,
ask
why,
men.
Why are they afraid? Yeah, I'm asking you. You married.
Should we have this on camera or not?
It goes on the record.
It's gonna be recorded. What is that fear? What is it? What are you afraid of?
Okay.
Well,
You're really trying to make
well,
it. Well done, well done. Come on. Yes, come. No way back. Come on.
Oh my gosh, look at that
He's
spirit.
so cute. Come. Boo boo. No, not that way. Come back. No. You did so well.
He's still doing well. He went back to his master.
I guess that's something we need to discuss in the men's group, isn't it?
Well, what are you afraid of? Yeah, I want to know. Like, what is the
So
fear?
it costs a lot of things to have this topic, you know that?
That's another belief, right?
Oh. You want to try that?
No, but what is the fear?
It's very known fear. It's not a big thing, you know. Basically, men and women, even though we call them as humans, they're different species.
But why wife? Why not girlfriend?
Hmm? The contracts are very strict in in marriage, you know. It's all contractual. Like an employee, what is he mostly afraid of? What is the biggest fear of an employee?
Losing his comfort.
Exactly. A husband is afraid of losing his husbandship, you know, like
His
and
comfort.
not comfort. He can stop being a husband.
So what happens then?
He will not be a husband anymore. He's fired.
So what?
So what? If this is so what, there is no fear, you know. But this is so what? If he stops being that's the whole game, you know. Like, what is the biggest fear? If you say fear of losing a job, so what? If a person don't go to that level,
No,
so
if
what?
they lose the job, they don't have money, they'll die. You know, they
Yeah.
think like, oh my gosh, I have nothing to eat, I have no money coming. But here, what are they losing? Losing relationship?
Yeah. See, as we are building the society, it's all about relationships, right? Like, you know, there is a foundation for somehow we have created that marriage is a source of every future, like men and women, so that we call sex as unsacred if it is done out of a wedlock. So the only way legally or morally allowed is through marriage. So you are building the whole society from the marriage. This is the source of it. And if you take a person out of the marriage, he's gone. You know, he's like he's out of the system. And a man is afraid of being thrown out of being a husband. And he's living in a body which allows him most of the time. You know, he's living on the edge. He can get fired anytime, you know.
Yes,
Because
in the
man-
natural state. yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. So,
If he does something which he is natural, he'll be fired.
There's a fear of, again, survival. He's thinking if he's out of marriage, then he's out of the system, and that's therefore he's dead.
Like
Or
it's
what?
the fear is a psychological construct, you know, like it comes out of nothing. If you go to the source of the fear, it is nothing. You know, it's just a story you believe in. But these stories are so strong that they control your lives. People die just because of believing in a story. You know, people kill each other because of believing in a story. So marriage is one of, say for me, there are three major things humans have invented to kill themselves. One is marriage, education, and what is the third one?
Religion.
Religion. Yeah, these are the very powerful institutions, you know, which we are actually suffering because of them. Even though education, as it looks like it is to make our lives better, it's making people into slaves. It's a foundation for slavery. The way that you have been trained, the way you have been raised, they say that the life is all about working for someone. You know,
Yeah,
this
it's all our
education is about, huh?
yeah.
So
Our identity is really based on our level of service or sclavitude, I suppose. I mean, if you look at some of these guys that work in like Wall Street, they're making tons of money, right? But or these upscale lawyers, and they work for hours and hours, right? And yes, do they make good money? Yes, but are they also like totally in bondage in that sense, or answering to a level of work when you're working, 16 to 20 hours a day? You know, that's your working life. That's quite a price to pay.
yeah,
Even if you are, have some of the comforts that you have, and then you could lose it like that,
yeah.
right? So you get used to a certain level of comfort, and then someone can decide, well, you're no longer worthy at some level, to make that judgment, and out you go. And I guess that's probably, that's just one of those tools, just like you're saying, religion, they can excommunicate you, right? Or tell you that you are just not worthy of being inside the church and society.
Not just that, you can go to hell.
That's true.
Eternal suffering. Oh my God, you're gonna go for that.
Eternal burning.
Throwing out of church is okay. You can live in the jungle or somewhere in hell.
Yeah.
And there is no time limit. Eternal,
Or if you're married, being thrown out of society and having conflict, like severe conflict happen within the family, or causing a division because you're not only married to that person, but their family and your family. And then, if your partner's especially popular with your family, right? That's an even larger toll to play. And there's the issue of blame, right? That comes with that.
Shame.
That's a big
Blame
thing
and
also.
shame. Yeah. Good point.
Yeah. One of the things I think men are really afraid of is being judged of a bad husband. Like this is very. I'm seeing from my family. This is what women do. They attack the man on his. Hey. Okay, calm down. Calm down. Like being a bad husband. And somehow men take it very seriously, in the sense like they're very afraid of this. They don't want to be labeled as a bad man. They have to be doing so well. They have to.
Well, that goes in the workplace sometimes too. Like,
yeah. You'll get a memo.
yeah.
It will go on your record.
But there's,
If you.
Improvement required.
I think I found, though, even in my work, like in some cases, okay, so I run into lots of yes men, okay, and there's a reason why they call men yes men at work, right? Is that they, some people say, well, I have the fear of losing my job, and all these people depend on me. But what's interesting to see is that there are, in my experience, overall in society, there are a lot more women that are willing to say no, right? I don't know in your experience, but
Wanting to say no for
they're strong enough to say no.
in the job, you mean, like
It could be in the
work
job,
environment.
but also in society. There's a lot. I'm seeing more of that. I was seeing more of that, or standing or creating space for their family lives, right? Or the whatever they needed, because you know they're more invested often. Well, a lot of them are invested in work, okay, but they're also invested in their family. So having to have all these things go on. I don't know. What do you guys think? Any experience with that? I mean, it might go both ways, but what do you think?
Saying yes and no.
Yeah, like I guess voting for yourself at work, and sometimes saying no to the boss, and saying, well, this is important.
I think both genders struggle with that equally.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't see that difference.
One
much.
word.
Depending on the environment, depending on it.
I think it's about getting ahead. If people want to get ahead, a lot of them say yes, and they just keep going. It's like to earn brownie points with the boss. So I think,
it depends upon how.
and again, I think it's about saving face as well, because if you say no, you're going to be labelled or categorised as someone that doesn't want to be part of the team or doesn't want to.
Therefore not loved.
Bad team
Therefore
player.
not loved. they want to go that extra mile, so they're kind of labelled not a team player.
Yeah, I guess that's a fear, is to be labeled not a team player.
Yeah,
Right, and
and
watching
that can
out-
lead to termination immediately. If you're not a bit, this is one of the qualities
not
they expect
committed.
you. If I can fire you based on that.
Hey man, I don't care. I'm on Team Maury.
Monica got fired, not Monica. Rachel got fired because of that, right? From Ralph Lauren when she goes for the interview.
Is it friends? Yeah.
When she goes for the interview with
She wasn't with okay. When
Yeah.
she went with
interview for they was going for a dinner, and then there was this
second one. Who was the second company? Famous company.
Gucci, huh?
Gucci? No.
And then she gets Louis Vuitton somewhere, but then the boss hears her that she's going to work for another company, and then immediately you're not a team player. How can you leave the job? Come on. Would he not leave a job if he gets a better one? He cannot say so. I'm going to be a better team player in another company.
I want to be on a better team. Sorry.
She didn't lose the job, did she?
They fired her.
Yeah.
Then Ross goes with his dinosaur egg.
Yeah. Okay. Right.
There's a lot of wisdom with friends, isn't it?
It's a
Oh,
lot
I
of
really love it.
information. Download.
I see. You're on the camera, guy.
He
care.
doesn't care. He lives in a different world.
And about, I think, the men being afraid of their wives. I think it's like a stigma, like something in their head, something bigger than them, because it's the fear of their wives. It's like, I don't know, like an enigma or something. It's like it's like being afraid of the dark, because or the fear of having to listen to them for eternity. Of
I actually found an interesting relationship about this. If let's say the basis of a relationship is honesty. Honesty in the sense of your what do you call that? the main foundation of a relationship is you should not go in a relationship with somebody else. Hmm? There's another word for that. It's
Realism?
realism. So first time I'm hearing this word, realism.
Let's go to more of philosophical, right?
Okay, so and then what?
Like cheating, if you go cheating on your wife or something, the first thing you will get is a blame. Like you'll be blamed for that. And once you get a blame, and you cheat because you are attracted to another person, which is a man's flow of, he wants to flow around, maybe let's say like that, like as a man, he wants to explore. But the moment he gets labeled as a bad man, no woman will look at him. He has to live in. I have met men, like
It's not good.
yeah, he's a bad man, like.
Damn, it's good.
So you're digging your own grave. If you are being bad to a woman, and she will label you. With this label, you won't get anybody else. So you're like a rotten tomato, like.
Nobody wants you.
So you have to play your manhood very carefully,
Secretly.
I've met men. They feel extremely, and they call themselves sexist. So what makes you call it like you call yourself sexist? No, that's what they call me. Because he admits that he likes other women, so he gets a brand, like.
The scarlet,
His forehead.
yeah,
Stamp.
Yeah, and if he has this scar, nobody would appreciate him. He's like left behind.
And it's interesting because for every man that feels that way, there's probably equally the same number of women that probably feel that way at some level, right? Or no?
I don't know, because if you're asking women, huh?
Yeah, well, obviously we have
You obviously have an opinion. Please express it.
Oh, you seem to have an opinion about women, huh? Okay, go ahead. Well, who are you? You're talking about men or women now?
No, we wanna hear. I wanna hear it.
I think the physiological construct of a human being, like if you see, they say women is multi-orgasmic and a man is polygamic, because if you see the physical construct, a woman can get pregnant if you're involved with many men, and having a pregnancy involves changing the whole life, but now we are in a society which is we have more devices, tools to avoid this, but still if you see, a man has no problem, he can just run away, but a woman, she has to live with it. So somehow this is this is kind of you have to be more aware with who you are connecting with. And
so it's like again the analogy of eggs and ham for breakfast. The chicken's involved, but the pig is committed.
Chickens.
chickens?
Yeah, for eggs. Okay, so you have the analogy of ham and eggs for breakfast. The chickens are involved, but the pig is committed to making that dish happen.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So if you want to eat ham and eggs, I mean, the commitment of the pig is at a much higher level. He's all in, man. And the chickens, well, they just laid a few eggs, and that's it. And they're on their own way. They're pecking away in the garden. Have you heard that before?
No, we don't have chicken, eggs, and ham. We have dosa, idli.
Yeah, then you might get reincarnated as a pig.
Then you need to find another analogy for that. What do you eat for breakfast? Idli.
Idli, dosa, pongal. So what do you say?
I'm thinking what fear women have in marriage if they're afraid of their husband.
Physical fear in some cases?
Maybe, yeah, because the man is stronger. Could be.
No, when it comes to that contract, that contract, what are they afraid of? If they lose their husband, what are they afraid of? If there is any fears.
In India, if you're a widow, it's like you're a property of the town, you know, like everybody will look at you like, oh my god, look at that. Like
She's one hot widow, man.
yeah, she doesn't,
Yeah.
man is like a security for her. You know, if you have a man in your life, nobody will look at you. And if you're divorced, that means everybody is like, oh, ho, 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 you know, like,
She's
I mean, that's how it came in the movies. But
Is-
that's what is fed into the human
Like
mind.
she's free and single again, or because she's damaged goods?
It's damaged goods. You know, she belongs to the property. Like anybody can harass you. There is nobody like
no protection for her.
no protection, and she's also in a way labeled. You know, like if you're okay, if your husband died, then it's one story. But if you're divorced, then it's another story. You know, like you are wild. Yeah.
You're wild, man.
Yeah, wild. You know, like if it was.
He couldn't handle you. You're so wild.
Oh, that man would have
No.
fallen apart. You know.
She wanted to become the town's property now. Yeah.
But what a nonsense if you think about it, right?
Yeah, right?
Of course, it's nonsense.
But it's all hidden. Nobody even questions this. It just happens so naturally, right?
That's what if you follow the fear carefully without getting lost into the you come to stupidity at the end, you know, like it's just nonsense. Like you look at the whole corona thing, you know, like you have to walk into the restaurant with a mask. You can sit on a table without a mask, but when you go to order you have to wear a mask, you know, like what is coronavirus? It is sitting there, oh look at the people going to the counter without a mask, go attack them, you know, like it looks like corona is following rules.
Oh,
you
you
know?
go order, they say put the mask on, but
Yeah.
then you sit at your place, they come, you order, you don't need to have a mask. I'm like, it's just what?
Then you've gathered with more people.
Yeah.
Oh, you come and you give a hug to them, and they have to sit at the next table. Like what?
Hugs
Yeah,
are not
remember?
allowed, by the way.
Yeah.
But nobody says anything about hugs.
okay.
Yeah. 4 people per table. 5th people,
they
corona
look
will
and
come.
judge. from the
They look and
distance.
judge.
Yeah,
They label you as rebel.
yeah.
That's one thing. People are really afraid of harassment. You know, I don't want to be labeled as being responsible for the pandemic. You know, like
Yeah.
yeah, man.
It's
should
because
be-
of you. Because of you, numbers are growing.
Yeah.
People
I have a
like you.
With the kind of phones we have, they unlock when they see your face. You know, and I have to pull my mask off so that my phone unlocks.
Or you can do you can set it up just by the eyes.
Is it
and-
possible now?
Yes, you can. Yeah.
Oh wow! I didn't know that. Thank you for letting me know.
So it
I'm
takes
so,
the
but what if
biometrics.
I'm wearing my eyeglasses? That's then again change. You know, like the sunglasses or something.
Yeah.
So when I pull my mask in the lift, and then the women entered the other day, and you should be wearing a mask. Oh, okay, I'm sorry. You know, like she wants me to make me feel guilty. You should be wearing a mask. So many people are dying every day, and you're standing here without your mask.
Yeah. The difference between my building and your building. In my building, nobody gives a shit.
I see in the
You know, in our building, there are a couple of people who gives
In
really big
your
shit.
building, it's very. I don't know.
No, even in their building, I would say, people walk
Yeah.
without masks. Yeah, they're very
It is.
chill. There's just a percentage of people.
Yeah, I don't know.
Deeply-
There's a tenseness in that lift. You need to
I think
be-
I feel also the same when you go to somebody else's buildings. You know, like in your building, you're very comfortable with that because it's my house. You know, like. But when I go to other buildings, I feel the same. You know, I have to wear. It's just a comfort
Yeah, but
level.
that's a fear
Yeah.
again, yeah? Implanted. Fear of other buildings.
No, like my territory, your territory. You know, like I don't know what kind of rules you play in your territory. We are a bit
You're in
comfortable
a
here.
foreign land.
Yeah.
You have to behave.
You have to be
Again,
follow the rules.
yeah, fear of the unknown, man.
Fear of the unknown. That's the best fear.
Fear
Because
of-
everything is unknown. You know, like.
But that's sort of like fear of the unknown is also what drives people to explore the unknown. I mean, how do you transform that fear into creativity and curiosity to explore beyond the fear, beyond this societal convention, all these, like someone like Elon Musk, right? I mean, he's exploring in his own way, whether electricity, the use of electric cars, space travel, all these things, right? That, to venture into business like that is really what's the outcome going to be for electric cars, 10 years ago or whatever, 20 years ago. I don't know how long it took him to get his car company going, maybe, but a while, right? It's a real commitment. But that could apply not just to business, but, exploring geography of the world, even going on a hike, an unknown hike. It sort of calls us to confront our fears.
Yeah. The fears which we create, huh? I mean, we don't know if there is unknown, but we don't know if the fear is, but there is already a fear of unknown, like it can be something.
Well, it's like acknowledging that fear and moving through the fear. And I think that's why I think going on a hike or something like that, or a discovery or a trip, can sometimes, even though, I'm going to go to Hawaii, I'm not really fearful of that, but if you're going to really push yourself, or you're going to go somewhere that you've never been to before, there's a little bit of, wanting to understand where you're going to land. That drives you to maybe learn a little bit about, the culture, the laws of that place. There's a little fear that drives a little bit of that, and curiosity and creativity.
I think fear and curiosity, they are interlinked. But I don't know, any creativity would come out of fear. Even if you create something out of fear, it will be very weapons, like this is what comes out of
Yeah.
It's a different kind of destructive creativity.
Okay, so the fear of the unknown. So but if we turn that fear of the unknown into love of the unknown,
you can turn it to curiosity. But I think that is the original form, actually. If you look at again a child, okay, if the child is running to go into the garden, okay, it's pure curiosity. What's there? What drives the child? But then the mom comes, and she has already her anticipation that there is going to be a snake, and then she kills the curiosity by putting her fear into her. Hey, don't go there, stop. And then what happens to the curiosity in the baby is it transforms into fear, because it comes from a very verified and trusted source, her mom. And then something inside your system changes. Curiosity, when next time when the curiosity triggers in the body, it transmits as a fear signal. Because the natural sign of curiosity comes and the fear alarm comes, because somebody has already stopped you from exploring based on a fear. So whenever the curiosity comes in life, you misread it as fear. Otherwise it's just pure curiosity, which takes humans from place to place. If there is no curiosity, we would not have traveled so far. Like people are going to Mars. They've been to moon, it's our curiosity, right?
Yeah. Good morning.
Good morning.
Did you sleep well, Theo? You had any dreams?
What?
No?
I can't remember them. Wait.
Maybe we can buy the
Toboggan
if you have
Yeah.
a cardboard, you can sit on the cardboard and you can slide.
I know.
Can you make a cardboard somehow?
There were boxes last
Yeah, if you have some
night.
boxes or something, you can make it.
They have boxes there.
Yeah. Yeah, the one with the, the ones with the sleeping, the mattresses?
Yeah.
Maybe you can turn them into a slider.
Okay.
Jump and slide.
And what about fear and excitement?
Fear and?
And excitement.
Excitement.
Yeah.
Like the relationship between fear and excitement.
That's a pretty powerful one, isn't it?
There's a thin line, I think, between fear and excitement.
As I hear, the people who get excited when they see fear are nothing but media people. Newspapers, they get very excited when they see fear because they get more market now,
Well, I mean, sure, that's a big draw for marketing companies. but there's a certain high that comes from fear and excitement.
Like
and
for the dangerous hike, there's
Yeah.
fear and excitement in that.
it's a rush, right? I mean, the experience of fear becomes addictive. I mean, that's why some men and women continue to go back into war zones, right? And they get into this roller coaster of a lifestyle of going from conflict to conflict. Or even if you're an aid worker and you go from, and their conflict zones, there's a certain high of being in a really tense situation and performing at a high level, and there's certain bonding that occurs between people that they're not getting in regular society, that combines all the, that fear and excitement creates the best in us and the worst in us.
It looks like people are afraid of peace, like if you have peace, it's taken as boring. And you should have something going on like a drama all the time. And
Good point.
fears are like the biggest dramas going on, like your hormones are flying everywhere, like it's high intensity, right? Fear. And if you have a fear, you'll be entertained for months. Look what's happening. A little bit of a comedy will run for 15 minutes, but a fear can go for weeks, months, years. If you have a fear, something inside us is addicted to these high frequencies of hormones.
Well, now, you've worked in the ER, right, Juris? Is there a certain, high of working in
Addiction
a high
to
capacity ER type situation?
Yeah, I think so. And again, it's like, you say whether, it brings out the best in you because you really are working on a very kind of, you don't know what the outcome is going to be. So I think people, apart from this rush, I think as well, when everything is said and done and you've come through the kind of crisis of whatever situation has arisen, the bond that you make with your peers, people that you work with. So, but I think definitely in our work there's an addiction to be always surrounded by chaos and adrenaline. And that's what people are driven, even though it's exhaustion, because by the end of it you're exhausted by the end of your shift because it's been crazy, whatever situations you've been living on the edge kind of. Well, I think there's some addiction in that as well. I think so, but then to the point that there's burnout also. So you kind of, that's, I think,
Sort of regulates it in a
The
certain
flip side of it.
yeah.
I used to tell to my team when I was in my previous job, my job was to deal with problems, like if there is anybody problem, like they send us an email to fix it, right? And when there are more problems, people get fed up, like, oh my God, there are so many issues. I say, guys, it's your job. If there are no issues, you won't make money. If you pray for no issues, you don't have a job. You decide what you want, like. And they say, oh, okay, like. So there are many people who live on. We have our livings.
So embracing fear.
Understanding a fear, I would say, like embracing fear is again playing around the fear, but go into the fear and just see where it is coming from, like what is the source of it. I don't know if there is any genuine fear really. Okay, we can say there is a fear of, say, survival, but it is given. You're living in a body which is going to go off anyway. So when you know this fact for sure, why would be afraid?
Well, they say kids, human are born with two fears, fear of falling and fear of loud sounds. That's it. These are the two genuine fears, and then the rest is collected in a way.
Fear of loud sounds, like
Disturbance.
Yeah.
But should we call it as a fear, or should we call it as a? I mean, fear is what I'm trying to understand. Fear is like you're afraid of something, but your body naturally responds to stimuli. Like if somebody bomb blast next to you, it's like boom, your body goes into an alert state.
This isn't genuine fear. Like the fear is real. The rest is all created by your mind.
Yeah. So free falling is something, again, our bodies are not designed to deal with.
Fear of falling. Yeah.
I mean, if you put me in the water, at least I can swim. Maybe, you know, I know that I can swim somehow deeply, because people swim. But flying is not my capacity.
Yeah. If you
Yeah.
feel like you're falling, you would get fear. That's in the
It's
body.
alert.
Yeah.
You can open your wings, but you'll still fall.
Yeah.
But that's the genuine feel. Like the fear you were born with. The rest is all mind created, generated.
Interesting.
And if we list out all the fears, they come back to the 6 things which we have spoken, which is listed in the Bible also, you know. The fear of, I mean, not that one. That they're what are the 6? No, the 7
Deadly sins.
Deadly sins, yeah.
7 deadly sins.
deadly sins, you know. But these are again to deal with the
Jealousy,
fears.
pride, all these things.
Yeah. They all, if you see, one will lead to the fear of rejection, one will lead to the fear of
Greed.
yeah,
Can't remember them all.
The one
anger,
overeating. what's that?
overeating, laziness,
Gluttony.
Oh yeah.
lust.
Lust is another one. Yeah.
I remember because in the comic book Shazam, those 7 deadly sins were listed on a tablet in the comic book.
That's how you memorize them.
I didn't. Obviously, I didn't memorize it, but I was just familiar with
This is
them.
what comes to your mind when you think about it. Yeah,
Yeah.
the picture of it.
Mhm.
Boom.
And that was like from a long time ago. You know, when I was probably 10.
Wow, and it's just stayed there. It printed. Boom.
hmm
Just make sure you remember them. Maybe
Yeah.
that was the purpose why they put it there.
Well, this is what newspaper delivery kid. Okay, walks into a tunnel, and as he walks into the tunnel, he sees all these tablets and stuff, and meets like Old Man Time, and Old Man Time empowers him with Shazam, which is like, you know, lightning bolt, and he gets really powerful like Superman. He's like, you know, they have Superman, they have Shazam, they had all these other, you know, lesser known comic book heroes other than Superman. He was one of them.
I think everybody's getting.
Yeah, I think we
Wrapping
should
up.
go and help. Maybe I have a fear of being labeled as a bad husband. I should go.
There you go. The fear is here again. Otherwise, he loses his contract.
She's gonna judge me.
He's gonna tell everybody he's a
Look
bad
at
man.
him. He's irresponsible husband. Look, our woman is doing all the work. You know, he's looking there having a chat
How
with
does
his.
it make you feel? out of the
Or
tribe.
the fear of like burning up in the desert as we haul our stuff back to the car.
Yeah.
Fear of sunburn. It's all mind created. Thank you, Osho.
Thank you, Osho.
Thank you, Osho. What about Tony?
Oh no, they were gonna stay here for another 2 hours.
Tony,
There's nothing. That's it.
That's it, yeah. In the end, there's
At the end, there's
It's
nothing.
all apparently
Apparently
happening.
nothing
That says
apparently
everything.
happening.
It's all apparently happening. You know, why take anything seriously if it's apparently happening?
What's the point of talking about
Was that
fear if nothing is
the
happening?
conclusion of your retreat?
It's everything comes out of nothing, and it appears to be there.
There you go. Different direction, yeah?
That's another
From
thought.
fear to nothing.
That's another sunrise. That's another sunrise.
Bye.